My goal today is to help you understand the proper function of each of the characters and what the different types of characters are to help you properly navigate a story, and hopefully this will help you keep your story from sprawling out of control. Thank you for watching, for liking, subscribing. I really do appreciate it. Let's jump in. When it comes to stories, there are 4 main types of characters. And I'm going to break each of those down, kind of talk about what the role is. I'm going to use examples from Aliens, so hopefully you've seen that. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about a quick and easy way to kind of help you differentiate between whether a character is one or another of these 4. The first one is the main character. This is the someone who wants something badly, is having trouble getting it, they get it or they don't. This is a definition of story, right? Someone who wants something badly, they're having trouble getting it, they get it or they don't. The someone, that's your main character. What is your main character trying to do? What are they going after? All of that. This is your main character. There's usually only one. Occasionally you might have a dual protagonist or a group of people. That's actually much more rare than you think it is, and all of you are going to be commenting below like, what about this movie? What about this one? What about this one? There's always exceptions. But for the main gist of movies, there's one main character, okay? And in Aliens, it's Ripley, right? Sigourney Weaver's character. This is Ripley. And what does Ripley want? Ripley wants to save as many of the colonists as she can, which ends up only being one, sadly. So this is what the movie is. Will Ripley save any of the colonists, or will they get killed by the aliens? That's what Aliens is about. So this is the main character. Pretty easy. Okay, our next level are supporting characters. Supporting characters help or hinder the main character. That's kind of what their job is. But one of the other things that supporting characters do is they also have their own goals. They have their own things that they are trying to accomplish, that they are trying to do. For example, in Aliens, you have the character of Burke. Burke is trying to do some very specific things in the movie. He's trying to bring an alien specimen back to Earth because they're wanting to weaponize it or whatever they're wanting to do. And this is what he's wanting to do. He has his own goal. And sometimes he's helping Ripley, sometimes he's hindering Ripley. And you also have Newt. Newt is there as a supporting character. She's helping Ripley. Sometimes Newt does some things which causes some problems for people, but she's there, and what Newt really wants is Newt wants to get off the planet. She wants to be safe. She has her own goals. And so when things happen and she feels unsafe, she might make a decision and she goes and does something, and sometimes that's helpful and sometimes that's not. So she has her own goals. You also have Hicks, who ends up kind of becoming the default leader of the military group when things go sideways. And Hicks is really just trying to see the mission through. He's wanting to protect the mission even when that mission starts to change and the parameters start to change because of the aliens. He understands that this is a threat, and yeah, we need to get rid of the aliens and we need to get off of this planet because this is going to be bad if we stay. Another supporting character is the Queen, the alien Queen. She has things that she wants. She is there mostly hindering our main character from getting what our main character wants. The antagonist of the story is almost always a supporting character. Those are the first 2, and those are 2 that you're like, okay, I kind of know who those are and what those are. The third level is what are called string characters. String characters essentially do one thing. You can maybe think of it like a string, a literal string. They just do this one thing. Maybe you can think about it, maybe it helps you to think about it, thinking about an instrument. Right? It's somebody that's plucking the same note over and over on a guitar string, right? Or a violin string or a cello string. It's just a string character. It's the same thing, right? Over and over and over again. In Aliens, there is an android character of sorts. His name is Bishop, and Bishop is a string character. His job is to help. He does what people tell him to do. That's it. Somebody tells him to do something, he goes and does it. Do this, Bishop. Okay, he does it. Do this, Bishop. Okay, he does it. That's his job. He just does what he does. It's the same note all the time. You also have Vasquez. Vasquez is like, she is ready to fight anything, anyone, anytime, anywhere, right now, let's go. Oh, you want a gun? Here, I'll give you a gun. You want to throw grenades? Let's throw grenades. Let's do this. Let's shoot them. Let's blow them up. Like, whatever, I'm in. That's her thing. Then you have Hudson, we're all gonna die, man. Like, this is his, like, it's always bad. It's always bad. We're gonna die here. Everybody's dead. We're not gonna get out of this. What are we doing here? Like, it's all the same thing. He does the same note all the time, just scared, wants to get out. So that's a string character, someone that has just a solitary focus. That's all they're doing. They're doing the one thing. We don't really know why they're doing what they're doing. We don't necessarily even care. They're doing their thing, whatever it is. The last group is background characters. Background characters are really just an extension of the setting. They help us understand what's going on. They help us make sense of the environment. So in a normal movie, this might be like people just walking down the street, or other people at a restaurant, or the other fans in the stadium, or whomever. They're background. They're there. They may have a line of dialogue. Can I take your order, sir? They may not. A lot of times they don't. They're just background. They're part of the ambiance of the movie. So in Aliens, the aliens are literally just background characters. They're just doing their thing. They're just there. And you also have several soldiers. They get named, because it helps add to things, but they don't all have lines, or other things happen to them, and we're just like, okay. And then there's the people that live on the planet that are there. Like, they're just background characters. We don't really know much about them. They're just there to kind of help establish the setting. Sometimes they help establish the stakes of things because of just their presence being there heightens things, like the aliens themselves. That makes things more tense. But for the most part, they're doing their thing. So these are the 4 types of characters. And one of the things that starts to happen in sprawling stories is too many string characters start to become supporting characters. And that's where the story starts sprawling, because you feel like, oh, I've got to give motivations to everybody. I've got to make sure that they know what they're doing, and they know what they're doing, and this person knows what they're doing. It's like, no, too many. I don't need to know all of that. They're just string characters. They're there to help and hinder the main character, and they're doing their one thing, right? I've got a few supporting characters. They have their own goals, right? And then I've got my main character who's got the main goal. So here's a way to help you break down and separate who really should be fitting into what category. And this will help you kind of eliminate scenes and groups of scenes, and maybe even combine characters, because you start to say like, oh, this character is doing this one thing all the time, but so is this character doing the same thing all the time. What if I just made them one character doing the same thing all the time, and it's perfectly fine? So it will help you kind of figure out how to navigate and eliminate things. So here's what you do. In a story, there are 3 things that are vital to a main character. They are want, need, and life dream. The life dream is, don't think of it as like the life dream, like I have a life dream or you have a life dream. The life dream is really begins and ends in the story. So it's really like a story dream. So for example, if I wanted to have a character that had a life dream of retiring to an island, but the story itself is whether they're going to get a job at some tech company, right? Or whether they're going to be a lawyer or whatever. And the whole story is about whether they're going to be a lawyer. Well, the life dream of retiring to an island doesn't really apply, because that's outside of the movie. It's got to be something inside the movie. So the life dream, what is their life dream in the movie? So in Aliens, you could say that one of Ripley's, and probably her main life dream, is to get off the planet alive, right? I want to live. So that's what she wants to do. And it's not just that for Ripley. She wants other people to live. She wants to save as many people as she can. So will she save these other people? That's her life dream. Her want, that's the second part. The want is something that a character does to help fulfill their life dream. So if Ripley wants to save as many people as possible, then her want is, I want to save as many of the colonists as I can, which really boils down to, I want to save Newt. That's what I really want to do. If I can save Newt, I've at least saved someone, right? So that's her want. And a need is what a character needs to learn to be able to accomplish a thing. When you first meet Ripley, she's very opinionated, and she has very strong feelings about this planet and the aliens that are on the planet. But when we see her, she's a little timid. She doesn't step up as much as we might want her to. What she needs to do is step up and lead and start doing things and take charge, and let's deal with this problem, because she's the one who's experienced in dealing with the problem. So her need is playing against her want. She wants to save all these people, but what she needs to do is she needs to step up. She needs to not worry as much about the people and do her thing. Now, here's where this can help you. If you take your 4 types of characters, main character, supporting, string, background, and you have these 3 things: want, need, life, dream. Your main character has all 3. Each level you go down, you drop 1. So our supporting characters might have a want and a need, but we don't necessarily know their life dream and we don't care. Or they might have a want and a life dream, but we don't really know their need. Like, they're not really going to change any. String characters have one of those, typically just a want, and background characters don't have any. So if you can understand life, dream, want, need, and what those are and how those pertain to the main character, then what you do is just drop 1 for each level, and that will help you know what's going on. So if you think, as you're reading one of your stories, that you've got a character and you're like, oh, this is a supporting character, but as you look at it, it's like, well, I only know their want, and they're really just doing one thing the whole time. They're a string character. Stop giving them scenes. Your scenes should be reserved for your main characters or supporting characters, because those are the ones that are driving your A story and any B, C, D stories that you've got going on. That's those. Anybody else, don't give them scenes. Those automatically can go away, and they're not really going to impact your story. If you have a sprawling story, sometimes it might be a story issue, but a lot of times it's actually a misunderstanding of characters and what their role is in the story. So you got main, supporting, string, background. If you can keep all those straight, you're going to have a much better, tighter, cleaner story. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. If it has, and if you found some value, please like, subscribe, bell. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. If you're going to tell a story that matters. See you later.